Hello survivors and welcome to another video. In this video we're looking at 5-star Abraham, the character that is going to be available or is currently available from the Diamond Rings event. And we're going to have a little bit of gameplay in here. We're going to have a little overview of the 6-star as well. This is the character that you can pick up, and then you can, if you max him out, you can ascend him to a 6-star character, and this is what he looks like. We're going to be mainly doing the review of this. And first off, I'm going to look at the art and stuff like that. And I will say he's one of the best looking characters in the game, especially within the free-to-play. He looks great. You know, he looks very much ready for the zombie apocalypse, armored out. You know, he's wearing a bandana, he's got glasses, he's got the style in there as well. But he just looks formidable, and it looks great. Now, looking at this in terms of his stats, he's got huge damage and quite well-rounded defensive stats. So he's got nearly 2,000, 1999. Defense is just under 1,400, and HP is just under 1,500. Pretty well-rounded for mainly what you'd call a damage-dealing character. I kind of like the balance within his stats. I have no complaints. Of course, you'd want HP and defense to be higher if possible, but there are limits on the overall stats, and I think he is pretty nicely balanced. Now, we look across to another part of his kit that is probably what a lot of people will look at in terms of his viability, with maybe not within their raid teams, just within how useful he's going to be in other parts of the games, and that would be his leader skill. And all teammates get 40% attack and 36 crit. And I have talked about this before, but the 36 crit is ultra useful for survival roads. The tournament roads, you know, getting on those legendary stages, you won't be persona locked because he is a legendary character. As long as you can take strong characters, you can take Abraham. It's really good. I think he's the best crit leader for greens in the game, except for Aaron, who's another 6-star character. And Aaron isn't available at all. Like, I don't know how you can get Aaron unless you had him from before. He's not in any wheel. He might be in Premier, I'm not 100% certain, so you'd have to basically get lucky. And Abraham's just up for grabs for free, effectively. You just got to grind out some milestones. So you can get a 36 crit lead for greens, and I'd say it's very useful for a lot of parts of the games. If you're a veteran, well, now if you're new to the game, he'd be really good, like long-term for your world map, just progressing through the world map. Every single walk stage you come up on, where you can take a green as a lead, you are going to have a much bigger, like a breeze, effectively. Now, if there are some stages on world map as well where it goes walker, and in survival road tournaments actually, where it goes walkers into humans, the fact that he's got a 40% attack lead as well makes it just, you're going to do huge amounts of damage, which is really good. Now we move on to the adrenaline rush. Now, this is a multi-part rush, so we're going to talk about it in the two halves. The first part is the damage. It deals 500% damage to one enemy, and basically Abraham is a huge damage dealer. This is quite apparent. One enemy damage is always great. 500% is really nice. He's got really good damage stats. You're going to put, hopefully, a reasonable weapon in his hands, at least 30%, but I would try and get out to 35, perhaps even 40 if you can. So he's going to have huge amounts of damage. If he's the leader as well, even better. Combat mods, you're going to want to stack lots and lots of damage on this guy. You're going to be hitting someone, just nuking one character hugely. The only comparable character to Abraham within strong is Shiva, and she's not as widely available. And if you don't have Shiva, I'd say Abraham is a fantastic pickup for a melee team, 100%. If I didn't have Shiva right now, he'd slot into Shiva's slot instantly. And I have tested him out in raids, in Shiva's slot, and he is basically the same in terms of the damage. Now, obviously, the best part about Shiva's rush is her confuse, and because of that, I actually gear her out slightly differently in terms of her combat mods, make her a bit more defensive, make it so she stays alive, make it so she doesn't die, basically, because I want her to confuse people. Whereas Abraham, I wouldn't be as bothered because his main thing is his damage, so I want him to be absolutely destroying one character at least. And the second part of this rush, initially, and a lot of the comments that I've seen about it think it's bad, and I initially agreed, this character and one teammate get pain split and regains up to 25% of their max HP for 2 turns. The second part of that, in terms of the HP gain, that's great. I like that. If it was just that, I think a lot of people wouldn't be too bothered, you know. 2 characters, 3 characters get a little heal, that'd be cool. Now, the pain split is the questionable part, and initially I thought that this wouldn't be that great because, obviously, because Abraham hasn't got great defense, when he pain splits with someone else, if people attack Abraham, the other character is going to take a lot more damage than they potentially could have. let's say it pain splits with Wyatt on a defense team. Now Wyatt could potentially have 2,500 defense. He's going to take a lot less damage if he's attacked directly. However, because the way pain split works, if someone attacks Abraham, the damage that Wyatt takes will be based off of Abraham's defense. Yes, it will be halved between them, but it will be based off of Abraham's defense. Now, when you think about it like that, it sounds bad for Wyatt. But what is Wyatt there for? Wyatt is there to take damage instead of other characters. So don't think about it like Wyatt will take more damage. The key thing here is Abraham will take less, and that is much more important than Wyatt taking more damage. Wyatt can take as much damage as he wants. He is there in your team, or a Carl. You know, pain split always goes to the person with the highest HP. So it'll generally be like Carl, Maggie, or Wyatt in a free-to-play team, and those guys are there to take damage. That's what their actual role within the team is, to just like soak up some damage. And if damage is going away from Abraham onto someone else, that's a good thing. So it's actually not as bad as it initially sounded. Now we'll check out his active skill. It isn't one of my favorable active skills. I generally like recovers. So like recover, impair, recover, bleed, or not so much bleed, but recover, impair, recover, stun. You know, the big ones. Stun, confuse, and impair are the big ones. If it had one of those three, I'd probably max it out because they're actually really useful. It hasn't got anything like the other ones that are good, like actual stun actives, so could stun someone. I'm not sure how useful this heal is going to be. I've left it at 1 out of 8 on my character. Heal up to 2 teammates for up to 25% of their max HP. I think I said this before on a live stream, where if that was bonus HP, it might have been okay, because potentially he could heal himself when he's only got like 5% HP. I'm pretty sure the other Abraham has the same sort of heal, but I think it's just for himself. It might be a 2-turn heal, but I've seen him pop that off when he's not really been hit at all. The first heal he gets is like 100. Where it could be up to like 500 because of how much HP those Abrahams have. So I don't think it's great. Personally, I'm not going to raise it unless I find myself actively using it. Now, in terms of the combat mods that I'd use, as I said, I'd probably go quite glass cannon on this character. The character that I've made isn't using my best mods, because that's for my actual best raid teams. But he is using some mainly attacking mods, just raising his attack as much as possible. His attack is actually higher than a maxed out tier 4. And he's only maxed out tier 3 at the moment, because he's just got attack set and attack mods. I'll show you them on the screen. So as you can see, he's got 2,358 damage because I've got this attack set and I've got an attack mod. They aren't even maxed. They're only at 10, just so it wouldn't cost me too much. This is just for a test. I could potentially get his attack up a little bit more, but I'd lose part of the set bonus. His defense has gone up a little bit as well because I've got a defense one in there. I don't think the defense one gives too much, 113, because it's bronze. But you can get gold defense mods that give 500, and that would be great on Abraham, because you do want him to survive a little bit. Glass cannon's great, but you don't want him to be too paper thin. You do want him to survive reasonably well. Now, in terms of the weapons, this is the weapon I had for a very long time. This was my first ever stun sword, and I used this on Javier in 6 stars, and it was great. And I think Abraham is going to be quite similar to way Javi works. Quite a fast rush. He's going to be doing huge amounts of damage. You generally want to be doing damage output. You know, if you've got someone who buffs stats on your team, like if you've got a Green Glen, his damage is just going to go higher and higher and higher. And I think he's going to be really, really nice. So we'll get to some raid testing now. And basically all I'm going to do is use my normal attack team, and I'm going to replace Shiva with Abraham to see how it goes. So this is the attack team I'm using. I've got Abraham at 68 AP, so he can get a 2nd turn command rush because I've got Ezekiel lead. He has got a very fast weapon, and I've got Glenn here for the command. Cal and Connor just there for support. If you watch my stream, you know I've broken down my team a few times. It is actually quite a slow team now. I kind of need to sort of change things up. I think I need to make a range team, but in terms of how it works, I'm just going to hit up a raid, and with the stun swords, you just want to try and get stun as soon as possible. There we go. And now I can command him if I wanted to. Like right now I could command him, but I'm not going to do that because I'm better off bringing the stats up of all my characters. And now he's going to nuke somebody really just massively. Now the biggest problem on their team is Shiva. so I'll just take her out. She's actually got pretty decent defense, 2,700. She has just had it debuffed. She hasn't got masses of HP, but recovering duo. There we go. So he pain split. Who did he pain split with there? It should be Glenn. Let me just see. Is it Glenn? Yeah, it's Glenn because he's got the heal. There we go. So if we check out Glenn's stats, Glenn's got 2,400 defense, and Abraham has 1,400. So people who attack Abraham will do a lot more damage to Glenn, but it will be halved on Abraham, and that's the main benefit of this, in my opinion. That's the main thing that you should be taking away from this. That it's much better that Glenn takes half of the damage that Abraham would normally take than Abraham takes it all. That's basically it. Now on a defense team it might work slightly different, but on an attack team not so much. Will I get another rush? I am going to get another rush. Kaboom, kaboom, and that's with an extra 100% defense on Wyatt, so it's not too bad. That's kind of what he can do on raids. We'll find another raid. I'll try and find out a reasonably hard one. So here we have like a normal Carl team. I guess a lot of the time you can have Michonne instead of Maggie. Maybe a Shiva in here as well. But there's not going to be too much in terms of how tanky these characters are going to be. You know, they've all got over 2,000 defense. They've got stun on attacks, and they've got absolute defense. So this is about as strong as a melee defense team gets, other than perhaps mods. So you can just sort of see what sort of damage this Abraham can do to these. What we'll do is we'll actually try and take out Carl with this. It's the combo of Connor and this guy is going to be pretty massive, and it does actually take him out 3,600 damage. So I mean, Abraham is just huge amounts of damage, and like you can see, he's got 3,100 damage with my team. It could be a lot better. He doesn't have great combat mods. I'm not using attacking leader, so if you had someone who's an attacking leader and you use combat mods that are like gold, giving 400 for the set or 500 for the set, whatever it is, and then like 400 for the actual attack mods, you're going to be getting like 4,500. Like, I think I managed to get Yellow Rick up to like 4,800 on my stream in terms of just stats. So you can get some huge numbers pretty much. But yeah, I think he does a lot of damage. He's got a mega hit. If you have Connor already or another debuffer, it's going to just be even more insane. If you have someone who buffs, like I have Ezekiel, but you can also get the Glenn I have there up at quite a bit, he's going to be pretty strong. Someone did ask me what gear was needed to upgrade Abraham as well, and I'll hopefully put this on the screen. This is for him to be maxed out as a 5-star, and then this is for him to be maxed out as a 6-star. He is a civilian as a 5-star, and it's the civilian that determines the gear that he's going to be required to upgrade as a 6-star as well. Pretty much it's just, from what I can remember, camp stoves and briefcases. I think it was camp stoves and briefcase is what you're going to need to level him up. So I think altogether you're going to need 18 briefcases to level him up, and maybe 12 camp stoves. I'll put it all on the screen just so you can see it. What do you think about Abraham? After this little test, have you already got him? I know some people have already just gone for him because of the leader skill. I think he's actually going to always be reasonable for Survival Road. He could be useful for certain raid teams. He's definitely going to be useful for a backup damage dealer and for something like Faction Assault. Coming up against, I think it's David, who is the fast character. He's going to just annihilate David. It's not even going to be funny how much he's going to destroy David. Single character, huge amounts of single character hit, huge amounts of damage. He's going to do huge hits. So I'm looking forward to using him. I might pick him up on my second region as well, just because of the SR potential in the leader skill. But I'll have to decide a little bit. But that's the end of this video, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.